have music sociologist, education and research director, Tuku, Megan Sylvester is on the line. Good morning, Megan.
Good morning, Rokas. It's
How are you
good to be
doing?
here with you all. I'm fine, thank you.
Nice. So tell us about the role of Tuku as it relates to Calypso History Month.
All right. So Calypso History Month has been celebrated for 20 something odd years in Trinidad and Tobago by Tuco. And it's very interesting that this particular year we're dealing with COVID-19. So
Hmm.
we've had to make some changes, some shifts in terms of our approach to hosting various shows and to having a lot of sessions for Calypsonians as we try to reach the public and engage with them during this time.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about what shows have been happening and what you all have planned as well.
All right. So we have a full calendar. Usually, even though we say it's Calypso History Month, it's actually 3 months. And
Oh.
so we actually start usually in September, but because of COVID this year, we were a little delayed. So
Hmm.
we had our first event on the 1st of October, which would have been our Thanksgiving service, which we usually do. And we plan to end with the Tugo Gala in November. And then we also have a show coming up after that, which is from North Zone, Sans Humanité. And so
Okay.
it's interesting that we have been having a lot of online showcasing of the talent, working particularly with WAC, radio in terms of having those sessions for Calypsonians. Of course, this would have started prior to Calypso History Month. That is the partnership with WAC, but we've really continued and intensified what we're doing this year in that regard. In addition to that,
Hmm.
specifically for my education and research projects, what we're doing is partnering with schools. And what we decided to do, because we're using the online platform for the showcasing of the Calypsonians, what I decided to do this year is to partner with the visual and performing arts teachers
Right.
in the schools, in some of these schools that you're going to be at Curiosity College, you're going to be at Marabella North Secondary, Princess Town Secondary, Trinity College Mocha, and Bishop East. And what we're doing is we're having our theme this year is Calypso Beyond Boundaries and Borders. And
Hmm.
so a special PowerPoint presentation has been designed to treat with the theme. And so we're going to have this sent to the schools and have the students in the classroom with their VAPA teachers go through the presentation so they can learn more about the theme this year and Calypso history on the whole.
I wonder if Calypso is best taught via PowerPoint or via a guitar and a vocal, you know?
Of course, of course. And so we have some live video that has actually been placed into the PowerPoint presentations. So they get the live video, they get the music. We also have some video as well from, YouTube, etc. So they actually see the Calypsonians performing the songs, and that
Nice.
is accompanied by the history in terms of the rest of the presentation.
Okay, tell me something, Megan. What does Tuko hope to achieve by celebrating Calypso History Month? I know that, I mean, we celebrate Carnival every year. We can celebrate Calypso all year round if we want. Why do we choose to, and why do we need to celebrate Calypso History Month in October?
Well, the important part though, and Rokas, you really mentioned it there, Calypso has no season. So we actually think that, Calypso is to be celebrated all year through. But of course, there's that special time of year when we want to commemorate the history of what Calypso really means to Trinidad and Tobago and indeed the region. And it becomes important for us to put that focus on it and partner with all varying organizations. For example, not only are we partnering with secondary schools, but we're also partnering with NALIS and we're partnering with some other organizations. In particular, I want to talk about a special project that Tupo is doing with Carryman this year, where we're going to be dealing with Calypso and the male figure in society. And this
Mm.
is going to be dealt with from the 10th to the 12th of November. And it's very interesting that we want to have these kind of partnerships where we isolate certain themes in Calypso to focus on to bring attention to the various ways in which Calypso makes a dent in our culture and in our music.
Megan, as a music sociologist, can you tell me how does Calypso music affect us as a society?
Hmm. But one of the important things is that you look at the lyrics.
Right.
You were speaking just now about Duke and the way that he dresses, but also you spoke about the fact that he's a prolific writer.
Mm-hmm.
And it becomes important when you're speaking about the Calypso art form to focus on lyrics. Because what they do is they speak to the identity, right? Which is when we're talking about sociology, that's what we're talking about identity. So there are themes of race, there are themes of class, there are themes of color, and so we deal with those types of issues taking place in Calypso. What are the lyrics saying about us? And by extension, what does the performer, what message do they want to get out about the society to the audience? And so this is why Calypso is so important for Tuko, because we want to look inside ourselves as a people to see what we have to offer, indeed, to the country, to the region, and by extension, the rest of the world.
Fantastic. Well, Megan, given the shutdown of live events and social gatherings, basically, in the creative industry especially, how do we go forward? How does Calypso present itself going forward? I know we're dealing with history, but we also on a journey forward as well. We're heading into 2021, what would have been the carnival season. How do we go forward? How?
Right. But one of the things that we have been doing as we have adjusted to suit the new normal is that we have really delved into the online platform. All right. And it becomes important, as I mentioned earlier, partnering with organizations who are already doing that. So working with Kenny Phillips at WAC has really been instrumental in terms of getting the content out there. So we have moved now from the live event to the showcasing of the Calypso performer within the studio, which is then online, and so persons can either pledge. We have partnered in terms of with Kenny Phillips in terms of the GoFundMe, so that there's finance or funding still coming in to the Calypsonian, because that's another aspect that we have to talk about.
Of course.
When we talk about the new normal, it's not only about the audience seeing the Calypsonian online, but how is the Calypsonian going to get paid? And that becomes a critical issue. So we have established that sort of link in terms of the GoFundMe and other ways in which people can actually pledge and get the money to the Calypsonians after the online performance. So those are two of the aspects that we're dealing with in terms of the adjustment to the new normal regarding COVID-19.
All right, fantastic. Well, Megan, I want to thank you very much for joining us this morning and sharing a little bit about the Calypso History Month, and we're going to continue to ventilate it as the month progresses. So thank you very much, Megan Sylvester, music sociologist, education and research director at TUCO.